So I knew that I was going to start a new job in 14 days. I took those 14 days to really take an inventory of things that I want to work on at the next job. Who is Lexi B at the next job? And I started having coffees and happy hours with people, mentors, people at my old company that I trusted. And I was like, what do I have to work on? What I realized very quickly, and I had this one woman named Felicia, shout out to Felicia, is she took me out to lunch the day after I got laid off. And she said, I'm going to ask you an important question. And I said, what's up? And she said, if you had gotten laid off yesterday and you didn't have a new opportunity, could you survive? And, Alicia was like this middle-aged Black woman from Alabama. So, of course, I tried to completely not answer the question. And if anybody on the call knows about Black folks in the South, especially women, they're not going to tolerate that. And she said, okay, so what I heard was, because your silence was loud, you would not be able to financially survive. And I said, but Felicia, why does it matter? And she said, it matters because until you figure out your money, until your money stops being funny, these companies and these people will own you. And so I found a financial advisor and I went to go see him the week before I started a new job. And I thought he was going to, how much money do you want to save? And this man took me into a room and over a 2-day period, we just whiteboarded the life that I wanted. And it was the first time that someone explained to me what money was. Money is not money. Money is a tool for your liberation. And for 2 days, we sat near a whiteboard and he would ask me these questions that had nothing to do with money. He said, where do you want to live? You want a 3-bed, 2.5 bath in Nashville? You want to own 50 acres in Texas? Do you want a $2.5 million home in LA? Are we going to get this penthouse in Tribeca? Are we going to have a home in Toronto and Rio? If you had to figure out your life 5 years from now, right now, what would it look like? Do you want children? If you have these children, how many are we thinking? 1 to 3.5? When these children come out, what kind of life would you dream of? Private school, public school? And these questions weren't about judgment. They were about lifestyle. Once I figured out my lifestyle with him on that whiteboard, he said, okay, well, based on this is how long you have to work. And I remember I responded and I said, I don't want to do that. And that's when he said, is that because you think that your labor is not your worth? And it was the first time someone told me that. And I looked at him and I said, no one's ever told me that. But yes, I was not meant for labor. And he said, bet, if you want this lifestyle, a few things need to happen. Moving forward, you need to help me negotiate your contracts. Done.